Two earthquakes kill nearly 2,000 people across Turkey and Syria. World leaders promise their help, with the UK sending search and rescue teams as this tragedy unfolds. Took just seconds for this building to collapse. Hours later, a second earthquake of a similar powerful magnitude. Officials say it wasn't an aftershock. The death toll from both is expected to rise as the frantic search for survivors goes on. Also ahead, back here, Epsom College pleads for time and space after the head teacher and her family were found dead at the private school in Surrey. The biggest strike in NHS history as nurses and ambulance workers walk out on the same day. Plus,
will I do, Carson?
Very nicely, my lady.
the party's over at Downton. Weddings are cancelled at the famous house because of a shortage of staff. And
we are witnessing history tonight, breaking the record for the most Grammy wins of all time.
celebrating both Beyoncé and Harry Styles, the two big winners at the Grammys.
I don't think any of us sit in the studio making decisions based on what is going to get us one of these. This is really, really kind.
This is the ITV Lunchtime News with Nina Hossain.
Good afternoon. Within the space of hours, Turkey has been hit by two deadly earthquakes. More than 1,700 people have died, but that number is set to rise, with casualties in Turkey and neighbouring Syria. While people were sleeping at 4 a.m, the first powerful 7.8 magnitude quake rocked southeastern Turkey and northern Syria. It was centred north of Gaziantep, a Turkish provincial capital. The tremors were felt as far away as Cairo in Egypt. Then around 1:30 local time, a second earthquake hit the same part of Turkey. The 7.5 magnitude quake was not an aftershock, according to officials. Its epicentre was in the Elbistan district of the Kahramanmaraş province. In the last hour, world leaders have started to pledge their international support, including the UK. These are live pictures of the rescue effort right now in Turkey. Aisha Tull's report on this developing story includes some footage you may find distressing.
When daylight emerged, the true devastating scale of the earthquake was revealed. Twisted rubble tangled up with roads and buildings as rescuers frantically searched for those who were underneath. Buildings in Urfa are dangerously precarious, with tremors and aftershocks making search operations even more difficult. Rescues are underway across large parts of southern Turkey and northern Syria. In a country which faced years of war, Syrians are now grappling with limited equipment.
People are under the rubble. They are trying to help. But what can one vehicle? Some few people working in their bare hands, working for those people who are under the rubble.
The first powerful earthquake struck in the early hours of the morning while many were sleeping. Still reeling from the aftermath of one major quake, there was another this afternoon. Just 80 miles north from the first. Authorities say this wasn't an aftershock. It was independent from the 7.8 quake in the early hours of the morning. Turkish authorities have placed the country on the highest possible alert, a level 4 alarm that calls for international assistance. Countries around the world have pledged aid to both Turkey and Syria. Rishi Sunak said the UK stands ready to help in any way we can. Turkey has been rocked by many earthquakes in the past. Sitting between two major tectonic plates that move against each other makes them particularly vulnerable. As the desperate search for survivors continue, every new rescue brings hope that more people can be found in scenes of such devastation. Aisha Tull, ITV News.
I'm joined now by our global security editor, Rohit Khatri, who knows the region well. These really harrowing pictures coming out of Turkey. The President Erdogan saying it is the worst tragedy that the country has seen for decades and decades.
Yeah, and that really means something when you consider the number of really deadly earthquakes that Turkey has suffered over the past few decades. You know, there are two stories happening here, and each one of them is really a natural disaster on top of a man-made disaster. We have what we're seeing on this side of the border, inside Turkey, and we hear from the British government in the last hour or so that they are sending 76 UK search and rescue specialists, 4 search dogs, rescue equipment, which is going to arrive inside Turkey later today, within the next few hours. But then we see what happens across the border in Syria. Now, some of the areas which have been so devastated this morning are some of those rebel-held pockets which have suffered already from 12 years of civil war, which have already had their healthcare and their social infrastructures devastated by bombardments. You know, getting help into some of those areas is going to be far more difficult. And so, yes, we can see the death toll rising inside Turkey. We can count the numbers. We can see the live pictures of the buildings. But perhaps just as concerning is what's happening over the border in places like Aleppo, from which we've heard so much of during the last 12 years of this Syrian civil war. And so, yeah, there are two stories happening here. One inside Turkey in towns like Gaziantep, which we've reported from so many times, which had its population swelled hugely during the refugee crisis. And then what we can't see so much inside Syria.
Yeah, and this is just the beginning. Rohit, thank you very much for that update. We can go live now to northern Syria and join Mohammed Hossain, a journalist. Mohammed, thank you for speaking to us at this incredibly difficult time. Where exactly are you and what happened where you are?
Yes, thank you so much for this interview. Now I am in Qamishli city. It's located in north and eastern Syria, controlled by Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF. Actually, I am now in an office. When I finish this interview, I must leave this building because all the people, they are leaving them houses. And we are too from the civilian people because the situation, you cannot imagine what will happen. Just before 1 hour and 30 minutes, an earthquake happened in Qamishli. As a result, I see a lot of civilians. They are living with them cars to the villages. As you know, the villages, it's including small houses by mud. So it cannot be dangerous for them and it's much safe. This day at 4 o'clock and 20 minutes by Syrian local time, an earthquake, it was so strong. I was sleeping in my house with my wife. And then suddenly I find everything was shaking. For example, my Christmas tree, my glasses, everything was, something was fall down, another thing was broke. Then directly we leave the house and we go to the street. A lot of people with convoys of cars. They was in gardens, some of them in parks. All of them, they leave them houses. But the most dangerous area now, it's Aleppo in the west of Euphrates. Here in north and eastern Syria, the Kurdish administration announced that no any casualties, no people killed, and all the houses, it's still safe. But in the west of Euphrates, I mean west of Syria, Aleppo and Idlib and Latakia and Hama, all of those provinces, it's so dangerous now. At least, according to the Syrian regime government, at least 400 people, they are killed in Aleppo and Latakia and Hama. But I get some information from unconfirmed sources. They says that at least 800 people they killed in Aleppo and Idlib and Latakia provinces. and
Mohammed,
about 1,200 people killed. Yeah.
Mohammed, incredible numbers
injured,
there that are
please.
coming through to you in Syria. How concerned are you about getting help, international help to the country?
I think, as you know, Syria from 10 years, all parts from Syria, Kurdish part, opposition part, Syrian regime part, all of those parts, they are including civilian people. So this time, the problem, it's not politics or military problems. It's natural problem. So all of the people here or in Idlib or in Aleppo, they are calling for an international help from international community, from NGOs, from everyone from the world. They can help. As Ukraine, you see all the people now, they are helping Ukrainian people. And a lot of states, they call Turkish state to help them. Why no one called the Syrian to help them? No one called the Syrian people until now to help them. I get a video from Afrin area. It's located in west of Syria. One man, his house destroyed totally. He is calling, he is crying, he is calling for international community to rescue his kids under the
An absolutely horrific story developing. We do hope that you get help to that country, international help as soon as possible. Mohammed Hossain, stay safe. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. And our coverage of this unfolding disaster is constantly being updated on ITVX. Scroll down to the news section on ITVX to find it. Here, a private school in Surrey has asked for time and space after its head teacher and her family were found dead. The bodies of Emma Patterson, her husband and her daughter were found by ambulance crews at Epsom College in the early hours of Sunday morning. Our reporter Ellie Pitt is at the school. The whole community, the whole school community there, clearly in shock.
Nina, that's the word the school itself and everybody we've spoken to this morning has been using. Police were called here by paramedics just after 1 a.m. yesterday morning, where they found the bodies of Emma Patterson, her husband George, and their 7-year-old daughter Letty. Mrs. Patterson was the head teacher here at Epsom College. It's a prestigious private school that charges boarders £42,000 a year. She lived with her family in a home on the school grounds, and she hadn't been in charge that long. She only started in September, but it seems that she'd already made a very positive impact here. Today, the school flag has been flying at half-mast, and we're told that later the school community will be coming together to grieve and pay their respects. In a statement, the chair of the Board of Governors said, "I want to convey our utter shock and disbelief at this tragic news. Emma was a wonderful teacher, but most of all, she was a delightful person. In time, we will commemorate Emma and her family." A police investigation is being carried out, and we've seen police vehicles come and go from the school grounds this morning. But they have told us they're confident this is an isolated incident and that there's no third-party involvement.
Ellie Pitt, thank you very much. Thank you. The biggest strike in the NHS's history is taking place today. Many nurses have walked out on the same day as many ambulance workers. Emergencies will still be covered, but there's no sign the dispute over pay will be resolved anytime soon. Here's our political correspondent, Harry Horton.
From Brighton on the south coast to Preston in the northwest. Across the Midlands too, never has the NHS seen a day of disruption like this.
We are here to care for patients, and if we have fair pay, we can retain all the nurses, we can care for the patients more because we can care for them properly.
You see the state of the hospitals and the wards and how short we are. It's scary.
Ambulance workers in 8 English regions and Unite members in Wales will join nurses across England on the picket line today. Tomorrow, nurses' strikes in England will continue, and on Thursday, thousands of NHS physios across England will walk out. Ambulance staff in 5 English regions will strike again on Friday.
So it's a nice environment for someone coming in.
Some unions in Wales have called off this week's strikes to consider an increased pay offer. But in England, the Health Secretary is showing no sign of budging.
I don't think it's right to go back to last year, to last April, retrospectively. We should be looking forward to the pay review body that is taking evidence now and working constructively with the trade unions in terms of ensuring that the evidence that goes to the pay review body reflects the wider pressure that the NHS has been under.
Health unions say the UK government isn't taking negotiations seriously.
There hasn't been one single extra brown penny put on the table for the nurses in England. In fact, what he is doing to the nurses in England is punishing them and not getting to a table and talking about their pay and trying to negotiate. And what a way to treat those nurses.
Mick Scarlett's spinal injury means he's forced to eat, work and live from his sofa. But vital surgery was postponed this week because of strikes.
No, I haven't left the house since August. And until I had my surgery, I really just can't do it because the pain is so much. And so this isn't, this is a surgery that means I either have my life back or I don't.
With no resolution in sight and neither side backing down, the disruption for Mick and thousands of others looks set to continue.
Harry Horton reporting there. A woman has been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder after 4 people, including 3 young children, were found seriously injured at a house in Huddersfield. Police were called to the property and found an injured girl, 2 boys and a woman. All 4 are being treated in hospital, according to West Yorkshire Police. Friends of Nicola Bulley say they hope the help of a specialist underwater rescue team will give her family answers. The private diving team deployed for the search have said that if the mother of 2 fell into the River Wyre, they are confident that they should find her by the end of the day. The clothes chain M&Co is to shut all of its 170 stores across the UK after being bought out of administration. The Scottish-based chain will close its stores in the spring. 2,000 jobs are at risk. And Manchester City have been referred to the Independent Commission by the Premier League over alleged breaches of its financial rules. The alleged breaches span a period from the 2009-10 season to the 2017-18 campaign. Next, the disappointment at Downton as the owners of the stately home where the hit TV series was filmed say they've had to cancel all big weddings because of a shortage of workers. Sally Biddulph has the details.
It has hosted hundreds of weddings, both on screen and off. For Lady Mary in Downton Abbey.
But you're happy?
I am.
And to many other couples in real life as Highclere Castle. It was the dream venue for Katie Price and Peter Andre at the Celebrity Wedding of the Year in 2005, complete with a pumpkin carriage and princess dress. But now the fairy tale is over. Highclere can no longer find the staff to host events. Writing in a newspaper, Lady Carnarvon said, "Brexit has caused such a retraction of people available to work in the hospitality business that we realised we cannot guarantee that we can find enough staff to put on an event of the quality that we would want." Staff shortages have led to rising employment costs, combined with the fact that lately almost every cost imaginable has risen more than any of us might have thought or feared. And Highclere is not alone. The problem is widespread.
On the national picture, we are seeing historically high levels of firms having trouble recruiting the jobs they need. Now, our surveys go back to 1989. The most recent one shows that 82% of firms around the UK are having trouble recruiting. It also found that hospitality is the biggest affected sector, with 87% having difficulties.
The government says it's monitoring the number of people we need for unskilled jobs through the current immigration system, and that post-pandemic there are many UK workers who have not yet returned to the labour force. But events businesses need staff now, or there will be no happily ever after. Sally Biddulph, ITV News.
Finally, the British stars shining at the biggest music awards in the world. Harry Styles picked up the night's most prestigious Album of the Year for Harry's House, his latest album earning him 3 awards in total. Accolades 2 for Sam Smith and the indie newcomers Wet Leg. But the night belonged to Beyoncé, as Barbara Holmes explains.
It calls itself the biggest night in music, and last night the Grammys was all about big outfits, big names and big numbers. It was also the night Beyoncé claimed the honour of having the biggest ever collection of Grammy Awards. She took home her 32nd trophy for her 7th studio album, Renaissance. Even after 32 wins, it was still an overwhelming moment.
I'm trying not to be too emotional, and I'm trying to just receive this night.
From a veteran of the ceremony to a British band just getting started, Wet Leg picked up their first and second ever Grammys. The group from the Isle of Wight looking slightly shell-shocked at their successes. Sam Smith, along with Kim Petras, won for their collaboration on Unholy. She dedicated the award to those who made it possible for her to be an openly transgender performer.
I just want to thank all the incredible transgender legends before me who kicked these doors open for me so I could be here tonight.
And the British successes didn't stop there. Adele was awarded Best Pop Solo Performance, and Harry's House clinched awards for Harry Styles, including the coveted Album of the Year.
I don't think any of us sit in the studio making decisions based on what is going to get us one of these. This is really, really kind.
The Grammys proved once again it can command some of the biggest performances of the year.
Barbara Holmes, that's it this lunchtime from everyone here right now. Bye-bye.